You know what is funny? You definitely own a Sony device right now. But if a kidnapper put a gun to your head and told you to recite its exact model name to save your life, your family will be eating rice at your funeral by tomorrow morning. Sony builds the greatest electronics on this planet. But Sony names those electronics like a cat walked across a keyboard. Sony make noise cancelling headphones so powerful they block out the sound of your own poverty. What did Sony name these beautiful pieces of engineering? The WH-1000SM5. Look at the name. Read it out loud. Did a human being write that? No, a robot that drank a bad wine wrote that. So if you buy Apple headphones, you say, I bought AirPod Max. If you buy Sony headphone, you say, I bought the Sony big ones. What do you say? Because Sony refused to use normal word. Sony forces you to speak in factory barcode. Let us look at the earbud. The tiny ones you put inside your ear. Sony named them WF-1000SM5. Pause. The big headphone is WH. The small earbud is WF. 1 letter. One single letter separates a massive headset from a tiny earplug. If you send your uncle to the market and his eyesight is slightly bad, he will buy the wrong thing. He will bring back a headset when you wanted the earbud. Now, you are fighting with your uncle over what? Over Sony's alphabet soup. Sony is actively causing argument in families. I did the research. I found out what this letter means. Sony engineering used WH for wireless headband. They use WF for wire-free. Wire-free? What is wire-free, my friend? The whole world call it Bluetooth. Even my grandmother knows the word Bluetooth. Who say wire-free? And the M5, that means Mark 5. Because Sony think they are building Iron Man suits. People complain, the internet roasted them for years. Finally, Sony executive heard us. They promised they will change. Sony says they will give their new audio line a new name. Do you know what Sony named the new headphones? ULT Wear. ULT Wear. Are you joking? I'm not wearing a cheap winter jacket. I'm buying a premium audio gear. Sony say ULT stand for ultimate. Ultimate what? Ultimate confusion. They do not say. They just yell ULT at you. Let us move to the smartphone. Sony manufactures the camera lens for half the phones on earth. Apple literally buy cameras from Sony. But Sony own phones, nobody buy them. Why? Because Sony named them like British royalty. The newest phone is the Xperia 1 Mark 8. You pronounce it Xperia 1 Mark 8. It sounds like a Bible verse. Turn your Bibles to the book of Xperia chapter 1 verses 8. And the Lord says, your phone shall have headphone jack. And the Lord says, your battery shall not die. And the television, oh my God. And you want to buy a TV, you go online. Sony show you the SR or whatever that is SRC5A95L. Am I buying a television or a nuclear code? Then in 2024, somebody at Sony woke up. Sony announced they will simplify the TV names. They gave us the Bravia 3, the Bravia 7, the Bravia 8, the Bravia 9. Beautiful. The whole world clapped. We celebrated. Sony finally learned how to count like normal human being. But wait, we are in 2026 now. Did Sony keep it simple? No. Sony announced their new TVs. What did they call the flagship? The Bravia 9 Mark II. Yeah, they went right back to the nonsense. The madness lives in their blood. They cannot resist the Roman numeral. It is a sickness. Why do Sony do this? I sat down, I calculated it, I researched, and I found the truth. Sony engineers lock the marketing department inside a basement. At normal companies, engineers build the product and the marketing professionals name it. They run focus groups. They test word. As Sony, the person who sold out the circuit board, also writes the boss. They use internal factory codes because they lack imagination. Sony treats you like a factory worker. Sony expects you, a human being with a job and a family, to memorize their warehouse inventory sheet just to listen to some music. Sony, I'm begging you. You build miracles. But a miracle with a terrible name is just a secret. Stop naming your gadget like medical condition. Give us a name we can shout in the club.